Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Guys, I watched Julian Assange today give a talk. He was giving, well, it's not really a lecture. I guess it was like a question and answer about essentially the vault, the information that they pulled from the CIA, that massive trove of information on the cyber warfare program of the CIA. So there were a few revelations that were absolutely fascinating. So one, they lost control of the arsenal. This arsenal that, for the most part, Trojans, malware, viruses, all sorts of stuff that they were using to attack devices and attack companies or other state actors. They lost control. They lost control. So, in addition to losing control, they had gotten excellent at bypassing encryption by attacking the device itself. So understand, all of the tools that the CIA had at their disposal for this massive cyber warfare program is out. It's out. It's in the wild. They couldn't hold on to it. So everything that we're talking about, bypassing encryption, attacking weaknesses in certain devices, cutting on cameras on televisions, that's in the open. That's in the open. There's something else that's pretty important with this also, though. Well, there are two things. A, the CIA, one of the questions had to do with whether or not they saw many attacks on, like, terrorist agencies. And the answer was no. For the most part, the attacks that these guys were doing were, like, bugging our allies or spying on other nations. Those type of things. Those type of activities. In fact, Julian Assange kind of made the point that it was conspicuously absent. Another one that they asked had to do with CNN. CNN is a goofball. They are. I'm sorry. So he's putting this amazing bombshell revelation out about an agency of the government that took on powers all on its own to recreate another agency that already existed in the U.S. government, NSA, within its own borders. CNN says, if this is aimed at countries around the world and not at the United States, isn't it legal? What? So again, I made this point before that mainstream news is neutral. They're state television. They're state television. That's an amazing question. I mean, come on. They just found out that an agency of the U.S. government had built a spying agency. It was spying on everybody across the world, including U.S. citizens, including attacking technology from certain companies, and exploiting weaknesses in those companies in order to get information. Hell, even turning on people's televisions and microphones. And they want to know, well, wait a minute. They're not targeting Americans, so that's still legal, right? Whether or not it's legal or not, they were targeting Americans. So one of the questions, did CIA hack targets in the United States? So Julian Assange makes the point that there are 22,000 IP addresses that are associated with the CIA in the United States. But they're unknown to whether these people were victims, whether they were like intermediate attacks, meaning they would hack into somebody else's system so they can attack somebody else. For the most part, it was unknown. This is still research is going. So one of the really interesting points, and there are two. So one has to do with journalism. How do you, if you can't have secure communications, meaning if you're under threat of prosecution because anything that you try to get out of waste, fraud, and abuse, the government can essentially put the hammer down on you. That's a problem. So in this situation where, the technology that many news agencies use, it's like Signal, it's encryption services. Well, this revelation essentially said that is butkus. If the CIA wants to get that information, the CIA could get that information. That's a problem. I mean, that's a problem on so many counts. And just remember, do you remember during the investigation it was the Senate investigation into the CIA's torture abuses, and the CIA hacked into the Senate committee to determine what they had on them for those abuses. That's amazing. That's amazing. So essentially the same tools that they were using for that, they essentially use the hack into areas of the government themselves. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. The last and the most interesting one, I think, it being honest, it's the most interesting one. Signatures or fingerprints. So the CIA had like they were doing, among other things, they were trying to make the process more streamlined. Meaning they could do basic bulk collection. Meaning, let's say everything from a particular country, everything from a particular state or whatever. And then they could use targeted attacks. Targeted attacks were more expensive, but for the most part, you can target a particular individual computer or system. Now, as the trend started going on, these things became automated. And for the most part, Assange made the point that it's getting to the point of bulk targeted collection. Like being able to attack huge amounts of information that's very specific to the person who they're trying to get the information on. He says, not there yet. That's the direction it's going. The last one had to do with signatures and fingerprints. What I mean is, by having certain attacks, there's certain things in their toolkit. They can mimic attacks from other nations. So you may have an attack that's, let's say, is familiar or is typical of a particular state, a particular service or industry or a particular body, whatever it is, whatever organization is. They can mimic those signatures. So you see something, you're like, oh, China hacked into this particular system because China tends to use this particular pattern when they're doing their coding. Yeah, there's no way to know that. There's no way to know that. They can mimic those various different signatures. There was a story today that came out where it was like a computer scientist or something, but the guy initially thought that his computer was hacked by some foreign or state agent. And after reading the information from Wikileaks and going through it, he was like, yeah, no. At this point, he believes that the CIA was, essentially, they hacked him. It essentially left a fingerprint to look like somebody else. Did Russia hack the DNC? Did Russia hack the emails for Podesta? Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? I mean, this has kind of been the point I made the entire time. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But the problem is they're red baiting like maniacs. And that one bit of evidence that they wanted to go by with all these intelligence agencies on it's Russia because we have whatever intelligence that we're not going to show you, but we just got to tell you, so you got to believe us. Just believe us. This absolutely guts that intelligence. It guts it. It could have been anything at that point. It could have been anything. So the last part for this is he made, where is it? Yeah, the fallout. So many of the companies themselves have been essentially joining hands, working with each other, trying to figure out what are the weaknesses in the system and how to mitigate the remaining weaknesses. Working with Wikileaks. Wikileaks has been working with these companies to help them set up defenses against the technology, which is, again, that's absolutely amazing. And beyond that, other nations across the world, of course, are pissed. I mean, come on. It's like once beforehand, they found that the NSA was essentially spying on everybody across the world. That came to the light of day. They tried to pass this weak regulation or whatever else. And now it comes out that the CIA is doing the exact same thing. Yeah. Look, man, it takes a conversation. Do we want an agency of the government to take it upon itself to build another agency of the government so it wouldn't have to interact with anybody else outside of itself? Part of the reason it built that cyber unit inside of the CIA was because they didn't want to go through the NSA. If they wanted to hack into the Senate committee and you had to explain to somebody in the CIA or explain to somebody in NSA the reason you're hacking into the Senate committee, that can be a buzzkill, right? That can be a buzzkill. They just want it in-house. It's amazing. I'm going to continue to follow this. I find this absolutely fascinating. I'm a software engineer by trade. And so this is fascinating. I do this for a living. All right, guys. Thanks.